during the presentation, and we'll get to those at the end. The handout is currently out on the PC Club website in the past meeting section, and a recording. The recording that I'm doing now will be out there in the next day. I'll have that out there. Agenda, will cover some club status, and then we'll get to our main topic. So future meeting, we have a question and answer online session September 2nd. Then our next general meeting is September 17th, and that'll be on streaming. Linda Brown is going to give the presentation. This is TV streaming. She's recently been doing a bunch of streaming of free TV stations, and so she's going to talk about what she's doing and what some of the options are there. So that's coming up on September 17th. And then the next MaxSig, there was a MaxSig last week, so the next one will be Friday, September 19th. Officers, Jim is our president, Linda is our vice president, Paul is our membership secretary, Andrew is now our treasurer. Thank you, Andrew. Chuck is our recording secretary, Mike is our MaxSig director, Paula, who was our treasurer, retired and technically can no longer be our secretary, so she's still staying on the board as a director at large. And I'm Tom Kreuzer, I'm also a director at large. Okay, members new and old, you can pay your dues to Paul Ebert, and especially a reminder, if you do change emails, to notify us of your new email. So if you retire or change or do anything there, make sure you notify us, because that's the way we keep in touch. Suggestions. Somebody's got their mic on there. If you can mute yourself, that'd be great. Otherwise, if I hear some more, I'll go out there and change. Let me go back here. So if you do have suggestions for topics, you can email your ideas. You can talk to the board members. We're always looking for volunteers to present on hardware and software. Maybe something that you use at work or at home. And if you don't want to present, we do have a monthly eBytes newsletter. You can write a short, meaning a sentence or two or multiple pages, for the eBytes newsletter. Out on our website, we do have our past meetings, our recordings, and handouts. We also have our deals section, our eBytes newsletter, and this is the link, but it's also sent in all the emails that we send out. Okay, let's get to our main topic today, which is smartphone security tips. And at a high level, we'll talk about the phone setup, some things that you can do or should be doing, backing up, passwords, and lost or stolen phone there. So each day, 200,000 devices, smartphones, are lost, stolen, or damaged. Phones today contain a large part of our life. This includes financial, photos, calendars, contacts, messages, passwords, and more. Just like we would protect our wallet, it's important to protect your phone for peace of mind that your data will not end up in the hands of those who could use it to harm you. Whether you become a victim of a phone hacker, a virus, you lose your phone, gets run over by a truck, or it just stops working, there's a lot at stake should your phone data get compromised. Today's phones offer many ways to protect you if you use them right. In some cases, you have to turn them on and configure it, but you have the power to protect your information there. The most likely cause of a security failure is simply a failure on your behalf to secure your stuff. And this, if you could see me, I'm pointing now at everybody, you are the weakest link in this whole security. You have to turn things on, you have to be conscious of what's going on, but ultimately security is in your hands. Okay, before we get to the specifics of what settings to change, we'll talk about settings in general on a phone or a tablet or even in Windows itself. With the variety of phones and operating systems and versions today, it can be hard to find where to change one of the hundreds of settings that your phone has. You can use the settings search function, can save you a ton of time. So usually what I'll do if I'm looking for a setting or don't know exactly where it is, I'll go into the settings and I'll give one try trying to use the menu that they've set up to find out where a setting is. If I can't find it in the first 20-30 seconds there, I'll do a search within the settings and search for that particular setting. And the reason for that is because these settings, as we've all found, move from version to version, or if you're reading an article that mentions tips, it'll show where the setting was at the point in time for that particular version. But now that it's moved somewhere else, you're going, what happened? I don't see it in my phone under this option. So you really do need a way to easily find these settings, and the search can save you a lot of time, whether it's because of a new phone or a new operating system or whatever there. So I use the search or the settings search function almost all the time now. I will make maybe one try at the menu, but the menus, because there's hundreds and hundreds of settings and they move around, it's just easier to use the search. Okay, next we'll talk about what you should be doing on your phone when you get a new phone and you're setting it up. But if you haven't set it up, you can certainly do this after, but these are things that you should be doing when you immediately get your new phone also. Your screen must be locked when you are not using it or when it is turned on to prevent unauthorized access if you lose your phone or it's stolen. As of 2018, only 50% of people use a phone lock. Shame, 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 shame on the 50% of people that don't use a phone lock. And I run into them all the time. I do support at my dad's senior living facility, and a lot of people do not have any security on their phone to lock it. So if somebody stole the phone, all they'd have to do is turn it on and they could start doing things there. You don't want to be in that position. For an Android, you usually go to Settings, Lock Screen, and that's where you set it up. For Apple, you go to Settings, Touch ID, and Passcodes. When you get to those screens, whether it's on the Android or the Apple, you're going to have multiple options on how to unlock your phone to be able to use it. And if your phone supports some of the more advanced fingerprint or Face ID, which a lot of phones today, over 70-80% of the phones now support this option, I recommend setting up the fingerprint. So I recommend that. And when you set up, if you're not familiar with the fingerprint, set up multiple fingers. That makes it easier if your right hand is busy or you're holding something and you're trying to operate your phone with the left hand. So you want to set up multiple fingers on each hand to make it easy to open with either hand. A lot of people, especially people with iPhones, I've found, prefer to use the Face ID. I am not a fan favorite of that, and most security analysts are not a fan favorite of that. It's okay, but I recommend the fingerprint instead because the fingerprint is more secure. The third way...
Both my wife... this is Mitch.
No, go ahead, Mitch.
Because you can use multiple fingerprints, we put like my fingerprint and my wife's fingerprint on the same phone so we can both use it.
That's good because yes, if you're using phones or exchanging phones and that, and usually you've also got this last option, the PIN, passcode, password also has to be set up. But to make it easy to use, setting up a spouse's fingerprinter, that is very good there. Okay, so you have the Face ID. Again, I'm not a fan of the Face ID, but it's okay. It's just not as secure as the fingerprint. Another option that you have is setting up an unlock pattern. I definitely do not recommend that. It's too simplistic or easy for a thief to recreate. And as an example, if you were in a bar and somebody stole your phone and you use the unlock pattern, I can look at your phone and chances are your finger left a grease mark on the phone of your unlock pattern. So I can see your unlock pattern there. It's pretty easy to recreate. The only thing you have to figure out is what direction. So with a couple of tries, I could probably unlock most people's phones who have an unlock pattern. The last way, and this is kind of the default way, so if everything else isn't working or your phone is not capable of it, you need to set up a PIN, or sometimes it's called a passcode. This is not a pass key. We've talked about pass keys before. This is a passcode or a password. And they can be 4 to 7 digits. Some of them you can do letters and numbers. I recommend that you do 7 digits with numbers and letters. Do not use overly simple codes like your birthday, year, month, day, or a phone number or an address or something that's guessable, or a sequence of numbers. And this I'll show to people. This is how long does it take a hacker to break into your phone? Well, if you would set up a four characters and it was numbers only, so that means that there are 99999, so we have 10,000 combinations. Well, I can hook a computer up to your phone and almost instantly I can break into your phone because it's going to go through all 10,000 combinations and one of them is correct. So let's say you say, well, but I use 7 digits in my PIN. Well, same thing. Even though it's longer, a computer can go through all the possibilities almost instantly and break into your phone. So this is how the police break into most phones and things like that, is you just try all these combinations. You can see as we add letters and numbers and make it longer, it gets harder and harder for a computer to break the code, to go through all the possibilities, to the point where you're starting to say, okay, if it's 12 characters long, if a password is 12 characters long, and it's just lowercase letters, 27,000 years it'd take. And if you use upper and lowercase and numbers, 12 characters long, it'd take 917 million years to go through every combination. Isn't going to happen. So that's, let me go back here. So that's why when I talk about passwords, I say any password or any code that you create, you want it to be long, because the longer it is, the harder it is to break. You want it to be strong, using combinations of letters, numbers, special characters, and unique, not used in any of your other sites. That's why you need to use a password manager and have it generate these random characters. Usually I'll go 16 characters long for if the system supports it. And that means nobody, no hacker is ever going to be able to force entry into my device there or guess the password there. Okay, let's continue with the phone setup. So you've set up to lock your phone, and that locking means when you turn off your phone and turn it back on, it's going to prompt you to unlock it. But you also should configure your phone to lock after X number of seconds or minutes when your phone is idle. By default, I believe Android and iPhone may do like 30 seconds. I find 30 seconds too quick. If your phone locks and because you're reading something on the screen and it takes you longer than 30 seconds and your phone locks, I don't like that. So I'm recommending that you set it at least to a minute, if not 2 minutes, of inactivity that your phone then locks. Another entry that you want to make sure is set up is enable Find My Phone on the Apple. On the Android, it's called Find My Device, to see the last known location and the ability to lock or erase the phone if needed. And we'll talk about that in a little bit in more detail. Also, when you're setting up your phone for the first time, or if you didn't do it the first time, do it today. Record your International Mobile Equipment Identification Number. It's called an IMEI number. And I recommend you put it in your password manager. And you can find it in your phone settings. It's entry in your phone settings. You can also find it on your online account from your cell phone provider. A lot of cases it's printed on the phone also, or on the box that your phone may have come in. If you got it from a T-Mobile or an AT&T, it can be near the battery, or if you got a SIM, it can be near that. Also record the serial number of the phone in your password manager. So I have an entry in my password manager specifically for my phone saying what these numbers are. And I'll talk later about why these numbers are important, because if your phone gets stolen and you're calling your cell phone provider or the police, this is information that you want to have. Okay, the next thing that you should do is you should back up. As we say in the PCs, back up, back up, back up. You have to have backup. Back up your accounts, your contacts, your photos, your videos, your text messages, your call logs, your email, your settings, and the apps. I recommend backing up to one or more cloud services. Backup allows you to restore the information should your phone be lost, stolen, broken, erased, or even setting up a new phone. Below are the most common cloud services. So if you have an Apple device, by default, it's pointing to the Apple iCloud, and that's fine to back it up. Just be aware you get 5 gigabytes for free, and then you pay 99 cents a month for an additional 50 gigabytes. Another option is Google Drive. Google Drive, you get 15 gigabytes for free, and then you pay $1.99 a month for 100 gigabytes. Samsung, if you have a Samsung phone, by default, it'll be backing up there. You get Samsung users get 5 gigabytes for free, and backup is set by default with all Samsung phones there. But you can change it to point to Google Drive and back up there. Microsoft. So if Microsoft OneDrive, you get 5 gigabytes for free. If you're subscribing to Microsoft 365, you already have access to up to 1 terabyte of space. So that's probably your best and cheapest place to back up. For family photos, we talked about other sites like Amazon Photos, Google Photos, Adobe, and others. For videos, I use YouTube for backing up. See previous presentations on backup and cloud services for more details on what to set up there. Okay, next let's talk about passwords and passkeys. As I've mentioned, and hopefully it sticks in people's mind, and they have are using a password manager, you must be using a password manager. It isn't an option anymore. We now have passkeys. We now have the average person, I believe, has something like 60 passwords. Myself, I'm not average. I've got a bunch others, but once you get above like 10 passwords, using paper and pencil or post-it notes or a spreadsheet or something like that is not practical. And you have to be using a password manager. I recommend the free version of Bitwarden, and we've had complete presentations on that in the past. That way you don't have to remember each password, so each one can be unique, long, and strong. It's also available, Bitwarden and this password manager is available on all devices that you have, whether it's your phones, your tablets, your laptop, your desktop, whether it's Windows, whether it's Android, whether it's Apple, doesn't matter. There's versions for every device that you have. I mentioned, the hacking, how easy it is to hack. Well, again, all of my passwords, I let the password manager generate, and I make them long. They can be 16 characters of numbers and letters. I'm never going to have to manually enter that anywhere, so let the password manager worry about the length and upper and lower case and everything like that. Makes it easy to change passwords. So you should be changing passwords. Password managers can protect you, but still, if there's data breaches or even once a year going out to your bank and changing your password is a good practice there. Also now, most sites are starting to support passkeys. You need a place to, or you should have a place to store those so that you can reuse them from device to device. And Bitwarden is an excellent package to do that. Also, it's a case of for cloud backup. You can track old passwords. You can put your challenge questions in Bitwarden. You can store your credit card information and other sensitive info. So a password manager is a no-brainer. Everyone should be using it today. It's safer than storing accounts and passwords in a browser or other methods. You may have seen a prompt in Chrome or Edge where it'll say, do you want me to save your password? Well, that's saving it in the browser. It's not as secure, it's not as feature-rich and functional as using a true password manager. So I would not recommend using those functions in browsers or in other packages. Many apps like Bitwarden Password Manager or banks or financial apps also let you use your fingerprint to be used. So normally my advice for a password manager is there's only one password manager that you have to, only one password you have to remember. That's the password to get into your password manager. But even there, if your device supports the biometrics, the fingerprints, you can use that to get into Bitwarden also. And then in Bitwarden, I have an entry for Bitwarden that says this is my master password. So conceivably, I'll never be left high and dry by not knowing my password to Bitwarden. You can also see past presentations on online security and passwords that we did April of 2025. Okay, next let's talk about a lost or stolen phone. So this is a common occurrence, not so much the stolen phone, but people forget a phone. You're out to eat. I forgot mine when I was golfing and I took it out of my pocket and put it in the golf cart. You can be over at a friend's house or that, and it can fall out of your pocket or purse and fall onto the floor, and you're not sure where it is. So lost or stolen, if it hasn't happened to you, you've been pretty lucky. Most people have had the panic of, oh, suddenly the phone is gone. Where is it? A thief can watch you, so you could be in a bar or in some setting there, and a thief could watch you unlock the phone. They then steal the phone immediately, and they attempt to transfer money from apps like Venmo, Zelle, PayPal, Cash App, or crypto to the thief's account. That's if you don't have two-factor authentication or using the fingerprint when you're opening the app. So these are a common way thieves will try and do things. Make sure these apps require the additional password or fingerprint to unlock them. Some thieves may also attempt to change your password associated with your Apple ID or Google account after they steal the phone. This locks the owner out of their own phone. So you definitely don't want that to happen. You can enable account restrictions to prevent your password from being changed. These thefts happen in places where people tend to be inattentive while drinking and socializing at bars. Some of the self-defense: cover your screen in public and just be aware of your surroundings. Thieves who steal a locked phone, if they can't transfer any money or that, will attempt to sell your phone usually as soon as possible before the phone gets reported as lost or stolen. So let's look at some steps on how you can protect yourself, whether it's losing your phone or it's stolen. Number one, the first thing, if you suspect that it's lost or you don't have it with you, check that it isn't just misplaced. If you have a spouse, by calling it and seeing if there's an answer. So let's say there's no answer. Then you can use the Apple Find My Phone or the Google Find My Device or Samsung's Find My Mobile. Go to the website, log in using your credentials, and follow the instructions. If it's somewhere that you haven't been or appears to be on the move, someone else has your phone and it may be stolen. So if they haven't tried to call you or contact you and your phone is moving, that's a red flag. Thieves usually turn the phone off immediately after stealing it. These Find My Phone or Find My Device will only show you the last location when the phone was on. Because if the phone is turned off, obviously there's no GPS, there's no ability to track the phone if the phone is physically off. Some people who start tracking phones that were stolen think that they're going to track down the person and get their phone back. So it may be tempting to go and confront the supposed thief, but leave it to law enforcement agencies because they strongly advise against it. You don't know if that person might have a gun or friends, or things could go bad in an awful hurry there. Okay, so let's do a quick little demo here. So I don't know where my phone is. Where's my phone? Where's my phone? One of the things I can do, I can go to any device anywhere in the world, and I can do a Google search. Find my phone. And you'll see immediately the top two results here is if I had an iPhone, I'd go out to the Apple iCloud, find my device. I happen to have Android here, so I can go to find my phone. When I click on this, it takes me to a website. This website, because I'm already logged in with my Google account, if I wasn't logged in, I'd have to put in my account and password to log into Google. It's going to show me devices that it can find for me. Now, I happen to have 4 different devices out here, 2 iPads and 2 phones. This is the one that I'm currently using here. I can click on this, and it will go and it'll find the phone. So it found the phone, and it just got the GPS location just seconds ago. This is where it's located. This is my address in Highland Park and St. Paul there. It'll also tell me that this phone is connected to the Wi-Fi network, my network in my house, and this is the battery level there. So kind of nice there. So immediately I know where the phone is. I can also play a sound. So if I'm trying to find it and I'm near this location and my phone is right in front of me right now, let's do this. You can see it'll start start ringing the phone, and I can try and track it down if it's in another room or another location there. Let's turn that off. So that's very nice there. We'll talk about these other options in another minute, but you can, if I thought the device was thieves had it, I can secure the device and I can do a factory reset. And we'll talk about those in a little, I think another slide or two. So it's very handy, very quick. You can go out there, you can see where your phone is. And again, if you left it at a relative's house, it should show up there. If I left it out on the golf course, which I did once, I can see that it's out on the golf course where I was, so you can see wherever it was there. Very handy feature. Not just for when it gets stolen, but when you forget it, lose it, whatever. The other feature that it has there is the lock your phone remotely using the find feature. So you can also leave anyone who finds your device a message and a phone number where you can be reached. If you're certain you won't get the phone back, you can perform a remote erase and completely erase the phone. Excuse me, a little tickle in the throat. What are some other steps if you're lost or stolen? Well, if it truly is lost and you aren't going to find it, call your cell phone provider to suspend service and prevent unauthorized charges like overseas calls. If you're unable to perform a remote lock, your provider might be able to deactivate the device also. And that's where having that IMEA can save you time and effort, because you'll be able to tell your service provider, this is the IMEA, this is the serial number of the phone. You'll have all that information right at your fingertips in your password manager, and you're going to be able to give them all the information. What are some other steps if your phone is truly lost or stolen? Well, change your email, change your bank, change your financial and shopping passwords, if any used auto login or saved passwords. Call your bank and tell them that your phone has been stolen and ask if there has been any recent activity on your accounts and cards. As we've talked before, hopefully you've also set up monitoring on your accounts to get text messages or emails for activity of your account that you could also watch. And watch in the next days and weeks to make sure that there's no suspicious activity. Number 6, even though the police aren't gonna call out the SWAT team and start tracking down your phone and have a bunch of detectives out there, you do want to file a police report via the local non-emergency number or website. Law enforcement agencies don't have the resources to investigate every case of a stolen phone. If you're able to tell them where your phone is, using that Find My Phone or Find My Device, they will be more likely and able to help you recover it. If your credit card has been used as a result of your phone being stolen, your financial institution or insurance claim may need the police report number as proof that your device was stolen before they'll reimburse your losses. When reporting your stolen phone, you should provide the police the device's IMEA number and the serial number. That'll help them track it down, and if they do find a phone, reunite you with a lost phone. Another step, the 7th step, I believe this is the final, contact your insurance company if you have insurance for your phone that protects against loss or theft. You might have purchased it when you bought your phone, or it may be covered under your home insurance. Check for it. This last bullet I make here is we talked about all these things, and unfortunately, people don't tend to practice this, and you should practice this, because obviously if you were out and you lost your phone, people are anxious and they get confused easily. So if you practice this ahead of time, which you can do, that's what I just did, ringing the phone, doing the Find My Device, trying out your spouse's phone to find your phone, trying another laptop to find it. You can try all those things, and Apple actually has a bunch of steps and information, and Android also has that. But practice. That way, when it does happen to you, you won't be all confused and that. Okay, what are some other tips? Keep your phone, operating system, and apps updated. A virus or hacker can exploit the vulnerabilities. Manufacturers stop support for the latest operating systems for phones that are 3 to 5 years old. So you don't want to be using old phones. You don't want to be using devices that are no longer getting updated. Otherwise, you'll be like St. Paul, and you'll have a ransomware attack, and you'll be regretting that. Why did you not buy a new computer or update to the latest operating system? You can be like St. Paul and be out of commission for 3 weeks or 4 weeks and cost you millions of dollars. Only install apps from trusted sources, usually the Android Google Store or the Apple Store. So don't be clicking on links in emails or other text messages or that. Or a friend of yours says, I found this really good app, just click on this and download it. No, you don't want to be downloading from willy-nilly sites there. Also, delete apps that you don't use anymore. Understand app permissions before accepting them. So whenever you install a new app, if it tries to access things like your camera, your contacts, your photos, all these other settings, put on your thinking cap a little bit. Does a weather app need to have access to your contacts or photos? No. Don't give it contact. Don't give them permission. So just think a little before you click yes or no. So also don't say no all the time, because if it is a weather app and it wants your location, that can be a good thing. Then it gives you more precise weather. So understand what you're saying yes and no to. Watch out for scams. You can see the latest presentation on scams that we've talked about for the phone. Wipe data on your old phone before you donate it or resell or recycle it. That's usually in the settings, about, and then the reset. Avoid public charging stations unless there's an emergency where you're really low on power and trying it. Hackers have been known to set up fake charging stations in scams known as juice jacking. After you plug into the station, in some cases, again with certain hardware and certain versions and things like that, they can access your phone's data or install malware on the device. Some people recommend a VPN service. If you listened to my presentation before, I don't recommend a VPN unless you're a crook and really want to hide your trail. Then definitely you need a VPN, but most people don't need a VPN. I recommend you check your browser for the lock symbol, and the sites that you connect to will be secure, are encrypted, even if you're using public Wi-Fi. Other tips used to be more popular in the older days. To get more access to your phone, you would do what's called rooting the phone or jailbreaking on the iPhone. And that's a process that gives you complete access to your device, but in doing so, it removes some of the safeguards that the manufacturers have put in place. So I don't recommend people do the root or the jailbreak on their phone there. Turn off Bluetooth and Wi-Fi when you're not using it. This one is especially important if you're in public spaces and you're not using the Wi-Fi. So you may be out at the airport. Well, there's lots of Wi-Fi connections, but if you're not going to be using it, turn it off. If you leave your Bluetooth and Wi-Fi access on, it makes it easier for a hacker to connect to your device and gain access to files and information. One way this can happen is a hacker can pretend to be a legitimate device that makes a connection request to your device. Once you grant access, the hacker can exploit security holes in other programs and apps to steal your information and get sensitive files. Okay, final bullet here. Almost everything that we've talked about today for the phones, for the smartphones, pertains also to tablets and laptops and even to some extent desktops. So you do want to protect yourself. Okay, we'll open it up for questions. You can unmute your audio and turn on your video. I'm going to stop sharing and then we'll take a look at the chat itself. So 1 second here. Let me do this. Where am I here? Stop sharing. Let's turn that off. Let's go to the chat. I'll turn on my video there. So if you do have a question, you can unmute. And if you want to show your video, you can do that. Okay, where is... Let me put this down. Let me put that down. I'm not seeing my chat. What happened to my chat? There we go. Okay. Okay, YouTube Plus costs $19 a month, but is the approved site for downloading. Okay. Yeah, the YouTube Plus also, you won't be bombarded with ads. This is different than YouTube TV. YouTube TV is a streaming service by YouTube. And so YouTube TV, if you wanted to watch the Discovery Channel, ESPN, things like that, you can pay. It's a paid service there from YouTube. So there are different things there. Oh, references to IMEI should be, yes, that's correct there. Yep, it's the IMEI. How does the Google Find My Device actually find your device? What information on the device does it have that allows you to pinpoint where the device is? Well, the Find My Device is using location services. In every phone, you've got GPS. It's using the GPS and the location services to constantly ping and know where it is there. When resetting a phone, do you need to log out of your account first, or will the resetting of the phone actually log out of your account? So yeah, when you reset a phone remotely, or if you're gonna get rid of your phone or sell your phone, it will delete all accounts on the phone. It's as if the person got a brand new phone and has to go through the complete setup, setting up accounts and that. Why, when attending city council meetings, the Bluetooth on my smartphone gets turned on? Again, there's various systems that want to turn on the Bluetooth, whether it's for speakers, whether it's for microphones, whether it's for controlling certain devices. Your car, that's the way you can make and receive telephone calls. So Bluetooth is used, can be used in thousands of different ways. It's just intended to be a low-powered, simple connection between disparate devices. After resetting the smartphone, can I then be used just as a radio? Bonnie, I think if you want to continue to use your phone and you don't want to use the, so you move the SIM card, let's say, to your new phone, you can continue to use your old phone as long as you have a Wi-Fi connection. So I would not reset the phone at that time. I just moved my SIM card or my eSIM to my new phone. I can continue to use the old phone to browse the internet as long as I have a Wi-Fi connection. So everything would work on there except the ability to make and receive a telephone call or on the phone itself. Would a reset smartphone still be assigned to me on the Find My Access? No. Once you reset the phone and get rid of the accounts and that on there, whether it's an iPhone or whether it's an Android phone, it's no longer sending the location constantly up to the Apple servers and the Android servers. So when the new person gets your phone and sets it up, now everything's registered for the new person. The IMEI information and all that is for the new person. It's not for you. You no longer own that device. So that device has been transferred. Think of it as like a car transfer. Somebody now owns the car and they're responsible for everything. Okay. Unrelated, Tom, to this topic, but wanted to ask, when lightning storms happen quite frequently, do you have or can you refer us to an online coax surge protector to help protect the router modem? You can do a search. What I used to recommend, and this goes back a number of years, Excel, the power company, had a service, a whole house service, surge protection service, and that was installed at the meter. There was physically a collar that went on where your meter is to sit between the meter and your house. And therefore any lightning coming in, any power surges, anything like that was arrested and taken out, filtered out, so that the whole rest of your house, that way, and I had that, that way you didn't have to buy surge protectors, especially when you consider that in the average house you may have 100 electronic devices. So your refrigerator has a circuit board in, your stove has it in, your washer has it in, your TVs have it in. All of these devices have circuit boards in there that are susceptible to a lightning strike, power surges, anything like that. So you can look in, it depends on how much you're willing to spend and how much protection you want. There's whole house systems, but certainly there are, whether it's power strips, but be aware, I haven't seen it lately, but it used to be years ago, Consumer Reports would rate some of the power strips, and about half of the power strips were worse for you using the power strip than if you didn't use any power strip at all. The power strip surge protectors were doing more damage to the electronics than they were protecting. Just because the circuitry that's built in there, plus it's a case of some of the cheaper ones, the way they do it is they can only take so many hits or power surges, and then you have to buy a brand new one. So there's different ways to do it. I don't know the current recommendations, but if you look out there and look for a review from PC Magazine or CNET Magazine, you can see some of that. Can somebody else turn on my Bluetooth? If so, how to prevent that? No, nobody can turn on your Bluetooth. So a package, an app that you use, can pop up a message and says, turn on your Bluetooth. I want to connect with your car or with your speakers or wireless earbuds, but they cannot turn it on remotely there. So that's not possible. Going to beat this to death, but have one more question. When I bought a new smartphone, I started with a new SIM card. I have the old smartphone, want to use as a radio. Are these the steps? Reset the old phone, pull and destroy the old SIM card, turn on and use the Wi-Fi. Again, if you want to use it as a radio, that SIM is used by your cell phone provider. So the minute that you got a new SIM card, the cell phone provider invalidated or got rid of that SIM address. And so whether you leave it in the phone or take it out of the phone, it doesn't matter. It can't be used by anyone. Nothing can be done with it. And nowadays, instead of a physical SIM card, a lot of it is done with an eSIM. It's done electronically with a file that you download. So that you don't need. I wouldn't reset the phone. Again, resetting the phone would mean, okay, if you reset the phone, you'd have to go in, you'd have to put in your Google account, you'd have to download apps, you'd have to do settings for the phone. If I want to continue to use my phone exactly as I was before, the only thing is I can't make a telephone call with this. That's the only difference between that SIM card being in and that SIM card not being in. And for me to use all the other apps, whether it's my bank or whether it's a browser, the Chrome browser, whether it's YouTube, all that stuff, it requires an app and requires the operating system on here and requires a Wi-Fi connection. So as long as I have all those, this will work exactly as when it was working when it had a SIM card in there. So you usually want to keep all that. It's only if you're going to get rid of your phone and sell it or give it to a friend or a relative that you'd reset your phone.
Yeah, and then you'd need an app that connects over Wi-Fi to radio stations. I've got one that connects to thousands of them worldwide.
Yeah,
but you need Wi-Fi. So it's getting their Wi-Fi signals.
And almost all the decent radio stations have their own apps that give you additional functionality. So at first, rather than some of these phones aren't made with FM antennas in there.
Correct.
So they aren't going to work as well as a pocket AM FM radio. If you want a pocket AM FM radio, use a pocket AM FM radio.
Right.
This device is more powerful. So I listen to like KS95. Well, there's an app for KS95 to stream it, and it also has other functions showing me the current songs. If they have contests, it has all that. Concerts coming up, you have all that. So you have that. Now, if I want to listen to a radio station, I can listen to billions of radio stations on here. The way that I can listen to billions of radio stations is I use, let me turn it off, I don't want it activated here. I use Alexa, and I have an Alexa app on my phone. I can ask Alexa to play almost any radio station in the world. So I don't have to be receiving a signal. I can listen to London, England's rock station. I can listen to that. If I know the name of the rock station, I can ask Alexa to play that, and it'll play that through Alexa on my phone. So it's technically not radio, it's streaming. It's streaming that service for free on my device.
Yep, that's how it goes. Thanks, Todd.
Okay. Other questions for security and phones and things like that? Now,
Say, Tom, this is John Stofko. I used to have Norton antivirus, and I stopped that because I figured the Windows system was doing okay. But I still have the Norton password manager. If I want to switch to Bluetooth, will there be interference with that, or should I eliminate the Norton password manager first, then get Bluetooth? And will I'm sorry, not Bluetooth, but Bitwarden. And will Bitwarden get the passwords that I've set up, or do I have to start all over again?
Yeah. So Bitwarden, as an example. I used to recommend, and I was using LastPass. LastPass, just like almost all of the other password managers out there, you have in there the capability to export your current passwords and settings. When you export that to a file, you then go into your new package, in this case Bitwarden, and import in that. So Bitwarden doesn't directly connect to your old password manager. You have to export the passwords and accounts out of there, and then you can import them into the Bitwarden. And like in my case, it took a minute or so, and all of a sudden I had all of my groups, all of my accounts, all of my passwords, all of my notes, all of my credit cards, all of that information was set up in Bitwarden. And that also works with a number of the browsers too. So if you were storing some of your accounts and passwords in your browser, it can pull that information out of your browser. But it doesn't automatically go in there and turn off the capabilities in the browser. So as an example, if you did start using Bitwarden, I would turn off the capability in the Microsoft Edge and in Chrome browser, turn it off so that it didn't try and prompt me to save the password. Why should I get prompted from Chrome asking to save the password when I'm never going to save it in Chrome? I have a password manager now. So that can be turned off. Plus, you can delete all the existing accounts and passwords that Chrome has in its browser. So, and if you Google that, you'll see instructions on how to do it. It's really easy to do, but only you can do it. You can't have another app do it, because if another app could do it, that would mean that a hacker or rogue software could manipulate your computer and grab everything there.
Okay, thanks. I think that answers my question.
Okay. Other questions? Yeah, there's a comment. After switching, you may wish to delete the exported file of passwords. Actually, I put it in my backup. So I do have a backup, and I do want to back up my passwords. Those are very, very important. It's just that where I secure that and how I secure that ensures that a hacker or somebody else does not have access to it. So whether you choose to encrypt it, whether you choose to store it on a flash drive that you keep in a safe somewhere, there's 100 different ways that you can back up your passwords and accounts. But you should, regardless of the password manager you're using, you should be backing up your accounts and passwords, and do it maybe on a 6-month basis, at least yearly. But if something ever happened or that, you do want to have it available. Also, it's a case of if you're looking for, if you're going to have an executor to your estate, they should be aware of this, and you should be telling them where backups are and where the information and how to get into the information. You should have a plan for all that. Okay.
Yeah, in that case, I was just figuring you're likely backing up your passwords as part of your Bitwarden backup. The transfer file is one that maybe you forget about. So yeah, don't leave it loose is the point.
Yeah, and Jim's
I mean, you still need a password to get into that export file, but yeah, it's if you're not going to use it, don't just leave it sitting on your system.
Right, or leave it in your
or drive or wherever. Yeah,
in your downloads directory or stuff like that. No, it's a file that does have a lot of confidential information and should be handled accordingly there. Okay. Any other last questions or comments?
Say, Tom, this is John Stoffco again.
Sure.
One comment I use with my phone, there's a lot of times I get phone calls from numbers that I don't recognize. And what I do is I don't answer them, and I figure if it's important, they'll leave me a message. And I've heard about phone calls from places that'll ask for information, and if I don't recognize the caller, I don't do it. So.
Yeah, that I was actually just talking with a woman yesterday at my dad's senior living facility, and that's a double-edged sword. So let's say you don't answer, or you can actually set up not to answer any that aren't in your contact list, and then it go directly to voicemail. That's a better solution, because if it, let's say it was my dad and he was taken to the hospital, I'm going to get a call from a doctor or a hospital that I don't have in my contact list. It's going to show up as unknown or whatever there. So you do have a little bit to worry about there. This particular woman, though, was not able to talk with her daughter because, and I said, the first minute I said, you blocked her. And she goes, no, I haven't blocked her. And she hasn't blocked me. And I said, yes, it happens all the time. I run into it all the time because whether it's an iPhone or an Android, people get a telephone call and they're in a hurry and they suddenly swipe their finger one direction or the other there, and you blocked the person. And they don't realize that they blocked them other than, oh, they aren't showing up. I'm not getting a call from them. I'm not getting text messages from them, but you blocked them. So it is handy to check your block list. Make sure that you haven't blocked friends and family. And if you've read articles, a lot of the articles say the way to reduce the number of telephone calls is just accept from the people in your contact list. Well, people will turn that on, not recognizing what they did. Again, if it's a call from a hospital or the police are trying to contact you, it's not going to get through there. The police can leave a message, but again, if time is critical and you do want to get some of this stuff, just be careful what you block. And with this whole phone numbers and scams and stuff like that, there's about 20 to 30 settings that are dedicated to that. And if you turn on certain settings and don't know what you're turning on, you're really shooting yourself in the foot because you're going to be missing some of your calls there. Okay?
Tom, Dick Oyster, how do you find your block list on an Android phone?
You can open up your phone application and go to the settings, and then I'm not sure at what level there. One of the levels there, you'll see it'll say blocked numbers, and it'll show you all the blocked numbers, and then you can either clear it all or you can do it one by one to take them out of there.
So that's in settings?
Yes. Now, it's a little different on the iPhone. On the iPhone, you have to go to the iPhone settings, so you're not going in through the phone settings. Android, you can go in through the phone settings to get at block numbers. On the iPhone, you go in through the iOS settings, the gear icon, and then find the app for phone, and then you can go in through that way to get at the block numbers that way. Google it if there's any question, or do the search like I mentioned in the phone here. Go to the settings and do the search for blocked numbers, blocked phone numbers, and you'll find where on your phone the setting is there. Okay? Okay, well, thanks for joining, and lots of good questions. Our next meeting next month, there will be Linda there talking about streaming services. So, and if you're heading out to the fair, it's going to be a little cooler, and so it should be a good time there. So we'll see everybody. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Tom.
No.
Thanks, Tom.
You're welcome. We'll see ya.